back here to God willing learn the laws of Torah to study. Very exciting. Hilchos Talmud Torah, the first chapter. God's help, we finished chapters of character development yesterday. Hopefully it will aid our character development. That'll be the main thing. Okay, 1 second, please. Okay. Hilchos Talmud Torah, the laws of learning Torah. Yesh v'kol shtei mitzvos aseh. There's 2 positive commandments. So pratan, here they come. Limud Torah, learn Torah. Kabed malamadel v'yudecha, and to honor those who study Torah and know a lot of Torah. Have to honor Torah's scholars. Let's explain the mitzvahs. Anyway, as always, learning to bind ourselves to God. You pleasure, you got ace redemption. What do you call an alligator in a vest? He's an investigator. Halacha Aleph, Nashim, Vavadim, Ketanim, Peturim, Matalmud Torah. Women, slaves, and kids don't have to learn Torah. Katan Aviv Chayv Limud Torah Shenemar, but a father has to teach his son. Like it says, like we say in Shema many times a day, but a woman doesn't have to teach her son, because anyone who has to learn has to teach. Like a base. Just like he has to teach his kid, so to his grandkids. Like it says, not just his kids and grandkids. He has to teach everybody, even if they're not his kids. Teach them to make them sharp to your children. Excuse me, the oral tradition teaches banecha. What does it mean banecha here? These are your students. That students are called children. Like it says, the children of the Nevi'im went forth. I think Rashi brings us down by Moshe Rabbeinu as well. That we see by him that his students were considered his children. So then why is he commanded specifically on his son, his grandson, seemingly? To teach you the order, son first, grandson second, then everybody else. Gimel, he has to hire somebody to teach his kids. But not his buddy's kid. If his father didn't teach him, then he has to teach himself. If his father didn't teach him, hire a teacher, whatever it is. Like it says, that you will learn them and you will guard them to do them. As soon as he can understand. And you find every place that study comes before deed. We say deed's the main thing. It's an interesting discussion here, but now's not the time or the place. Because learning brings to deed. Person learns will know what to do and behave better. Torah finds a person. Person just doing won't necessarily lead him to learning. He can come up with all his conclusions. He won't necessarily find the path of God and learn Torah. In fact, more likely to find the path himself in degeneracy and hedonism. But that's a story for another time too. If he wants to learn and he also has a son to teach, he comes first. This father comes first. The son's a whiz kid and he's not. Then the son comes first. But it doesn't mean the father can just not worry about his learning. He still has to learn too. He still has to make sure he learns. Hey, he should learn and then get married. If he married first, he'll be busy with married life. He won't necessarily have time to learn. But if he's such a hot-blooded guy that he can't sit in the base medrash and learn because his Yetzer just owns him and beats him down, then he has an excuse to marry first. But then he better come back and learn. And anyone who has a little self-control and a brain to rule over their heart, then they learn first. But if he's really hot-blooded, he has an out. The Mishnah says 15 to Gemara, 18 to marriage. It should be less. They should get married at 13 and 12. When does the father have to start teaching him? As soon as he can start to speak. How much can the kid learn? He's just speaking. Teach him Torah, Sival, and Moshe, V'Shema Yisrael. Teach him those 2 verses. And then a little bit more at a time. Psukim, a verse here, a verse there. Until he hits 6, or Ben Shever 7. According to his ability. Then you take him to school. Zayin Hayminhag Medina Likach Malamet Nukos Schar. The custom is that people who teach kids Torah get paid. If that is the custom, and he has to pay him up and teach him till he's familiar with the entire written law, the Chumash, and maybe Nach also. But if they even teach the oral law for pay, the Mishnayos and the Gemara, no problem. I'm sorry. The written law, I think we already said that. The oral law, that cannot be taught for pay. Somehow we see in this verse where Moshe taught us, since somehow there's an idea here that since he did it for free, that anyone who teaches the oral law should do it for free. Although people who teach the oral, they get paid for their time because they're not doing other work. Because what they would have got paid to do a different job, it's as if they're getting paid for that. That's how I'm explaining it. But since they're not doing another job, that's why they're getting paid. So too when it comes for all time, let's just make sure we said this right. A teacher of young children can get payment, period. If I guess not, maybe about a little bit older kids for teaching the written law, it's okay. Not sure what he's teaching the young kids if it's not the written law. Maybe he's teaching them brachas or a few pesukim. I'm not exactly sure. But teaching the written law teaching young kids is okay. Teaching the written law is okay. Teaching the oral law is not. Although we talked about that. Somehow he says, you can see from the verse it says that Moshe taught us as God commanded him, that means free. And that's in Gemara Nedarim. Okay. Lo matzah misha yomad b'chinam, but if no one will teach him for free, yomad b'schar, then he should pay shenemar emes koine. He says you better get him. Yochel limon l'cherim b'schar, maybe even for others. Talmud Lomar, Val Team Core says no. Halamarat she'asa lo limod b'schar, afapi siman rabba b'schar. Then he has to pay. It says buy truth. Can he charge to teach others? He says, but don't sell. Let's confer this forbidden charge to teach Torah, even though one's teacher charged to instruct him. Oh, he's still under the general category of he shouldn't charge, but we talked about that. If he could be doing he's getting paid for the other job, so to speak. Ches, kol ish misra chai Talmud Torah, Banani ben Asher. Every Jew has to learn, whether they're rich or not, ben shalom b'gufa, ben yisurin, whether they're healthy, ben bachor, ben shayizaki, no matter how old, God should touch koichoi, God forbid, v'filahai, ani yispanis ben asazakum, waxer, al-ha-p'trachim. It doesn't matter if he's rich or not, he still has to learn. V'ava b'al yisha, anu hayav l'kbol l'zman l'Talmud Torah. If he's married and has a lot of marriage responsibilities, God willing, we should have. B'yom l'layla, he has to learn. Day and night, shenemar v'gisa bo yom l'layla. He has to have a set time to learn in the morning and the night. That's the hour, the set morning and the hour and the night. So there's no excuses not to learn. Everyone has to learn. Over 18, some of the great sages chopped wood, a man shoving mimer, drew water, sumim. Some were, God forbid, blind. They still learned a lot of Torah day and night. And they were counted as part of the oral transmission from Moshe on down. How long does he have to learn? Maybe once he gets a smicha certificate, he can stop. Is that how it works? Ad Yom Moso, until forever and ever he has to learn. The Rebbe Melech Shia says we have eternal life in these bodies, just have to see the face of Mashiach, learn to get a Mashiach, and say in the streets. All the days of your life, you should never turn away from it. And a person, especially a person who's learned a bit, if they take a day off or two, the Torah really walks away from them. The people who have learned and learn regularly, they almost need to learn more and more just to stay in their natural zone. A person it's natural to default to the physical. It's not that natural to default to the light. Although we have the neshama, it has to be lit up and overcome the physical each and every day. So a person who's learning and living in a light space, how much more so he's going to make sure he keeps learning to stay in that space, because day off for him could, God forbid, be a big urita. He really has to keep up his effort every day to stay in the space that he considers himself that he's accustomed to. Goes on, If he doesn't learn, he's going to forget. Here it just says he'll forget, not that he won't feel himself and he won't feel light, but similar idea. Yet Aleph Achayev Shalosh Zaman L'Miraso, he should split his time into thirds when it comes to learning. Shalosh B'Torah K'sav, third for the written law. Shalosh B'Torah Shabbat, third for the oral law. Shalosh Yavin Yvaskal Achris, Davar Rishiso, and on a third to kind of contemplate and figure out one thing from another. Osi Davar Medavar, Yidam Medavar L'Davar, Yavin B'Midos B'Torah, and understand some of the ways of extrapolation, interpretation of the Torah. The Dreshapahan Achiyata Hechu Ikar Midos, until he knows really how it works. And how to know what's permitted and what's not. From the oral tradition, everything we know from the oral tradition is Zehu Nikra Gemara. That's called Gemara, being able to learn. Let's give the Chayino's translation over here. 1/3 of the time for understanding and conceptualizing the ultimate derivation of a concept from its roots, inferring a concept from another, comparing concepts based on the principles of biblical exegesis. I hope that said that right. Exegesis. Till he really understands well and appreciates the essence. How everything came into being. How everything in the Gemara is derived. The derivation of the law too. It's a heavy plate there he's got. Good base Kate said, how does it work? Let's say he works 3 hours a day. Beyond Torahtation, he learns 9 hours a day. It sounds good. Work 3, learn 9. That's pretty good ratio for this. This guy sounds like he has a pretty nice life. 9 hours a day in Torah. Also, Natation Korah Shalish Mehen, V'Torah Shabasav, 3 for Torah Shabasav, Shalish V'Torah Shapeh, and 3 for Torah Shapeh, Shalish Acheros, Vizbonim Adai Lav and Davar and Davar, and the other 3 for contemplation and meditation to really understand how one thing's learned from another. And it's interesting to me how much shorter it's said in this sif than in the previous sif. It was, 6 or 7 lines there about conceptualizing and doing derivations, etc. Here it just says, spend a little time knowing how to derive one concept from another. Tiva Kabbalah B'Kol Torah Shabasav, and all the words of the Kabbalah are considered part of the written law. Hebrew Rishon B'Kol Shabbat, but their explanations are part of the oral tradition. And here the Kabbalah means the prophetic tradition, the rest of Nach. And the explanation is part of the oral law, Vinyanim and Nikrim, parties, and all the mystical stuff, B'Klal HaGemara are considered part of the Gemara. And should be that third. So the mystical stuff fits into the contemplation third. Nach fits into the written law third, and the explanation of the written law is in the oral law third, of course. I'm not sure where else we would think that would be. Morning, what are you talking about? The Hilchos Talmud Torah, when he first starts learning, when he gets a little smarter, doesn't have to constantly review Chumash and or get familiar with Chumash and the oral law. He's kind of, I don't want to say has them down, but he's at this moment extensively familiar and has them clear in his mind and heart. Then he should set specific times for review, so he doesn't forget anything. But use the other than those set times. Let's just pick once a month he does review. I'm making that up. I don't know if that's the right time. The rest of his time, the other 29 days of the month, and maybe even part of that 30th day, he should be learning Gemara. According to the breadth of his heart, Yishuv Daito, and the settledness of his mind. So Rambam's really hammering the Gemara learning here. And the mysticism now from the last halacha. So once he's got the basics down of the oral and the written law, he should spend a lot of time in mysticism. It's pretty cool. And Gemara too. Gimel. Isha Shilamda Yud Gimel. Isha Shilamda Torah Yesh L'Schar Leish L'Schar. A woman who learns Torah gets reward. Well, Eno Kasar Ish, but not like a man. Maybe she'll learn Savta, Nitzavas, because she's not commanded. V'Kol Osa Davar She'eno Tzuva Lav Loso Ein Schar Geskar Hamutzuva. Sha'asa. The person who does something that they're commanded to do gets more than someone who's not commanded. It is a nice thing, but doing what we're told and commanded is something else. Elapakas Menu. And even though she gets a word, it's bito. The sage says a person shouldn't teach they commanded that a person shouldn't teach his daughter Torah. It says women's minds aren't set for learning. They're going to make it like, I don't know, low class and turn it into silly stuff, I guess. Because they lack understanding. It says the sages said anyone who teaches his daughter Torah is like he taught her poetry. What he's saying with Torah Shabbat, we're talking about the oral law, with Torah Shabbat, but the written law, Don't teach her right away, but if she learns on her own, then it's not considered not such a great thing. All right, let's look at some of the notes here. If she learns on her own, that's good. But if a father teaches her things she doesn't necessarily need to know, then that's not necessarily so good. If his daughter is very capable, he should study. But she does have to know everything she has to know to live a kosher Jewish life as a little lady. And here maybe the Rambam's only saying don't teach her Gemara because she doesn't need to know Gemara. Unless there's a Gemara that has to do with her girl or with her girly mitzvahs, with her women mitzvahs. I mean girly in a bad way. This is a tough halacha to teach, I mean, times are different then. Back in the day, we're talking about 1,000 years ago. Women weren't so learned, and they were the anchor of society, rearing the children. And, they weren't part of the workforce to such a great extent as they are now. They needed more male protection. And this was the way the families worked. And it's the way they should work. The woman should be the anchor of the home. And now a Hasidic woman or a Jewish woman, she can certainly run her home and has the skills to be a big macher in the world too. And she has to remember, the trick is to remember that her family comes first. That I like the famous story of the high-ranking Pentagon official that let the big meeting wait because his son needed a peanut butter jelly sandwich or whatever it was. The family has to always come first for her. But the Rebbeim encourage the women very much to learn. They certainly need to know the laws pertaining to them. And they should push themselves to learn as much as they can. But in the day when technology wasn't so present, time was more pressed, and they had so many responsibilities, learning shouldn't take away from their responsibilities. And there wasn't any need to teach them things that didn't apply to them. But certainly, she's got to learn a lot to know all the laws she has to do, and especially as part of the workforce, she has to know all those laws too. So a woman has a tremendous responsibility to learn also, although maybe not quite as much as him. And she's commanded to know what she's got to know, but the idea of learning Torah, just to learn it and become a Torah scholar and become united with God, not to become a Torah scholar because that's not so great, but just because it's what God wants, that's on the men. Alright, so some people have to learn, some don't. Kids, grandkids, and everybody else. Women, slaves, and minors are out. She doesn't have to teach her kid. You better get a teacher. Study is very important. It leads to deed. His study comes for his kids, unless his kid is a whiz kid, but then he better still teach himself anyway. He should study then marry, unless he's just a really hot-blooded guy, Yetzer Hara guy. As soon as he can speak, teach him some verses, and little by little till he's 6 or 7, then take him to school, and that guy gets paid. The person who teaches the written law gets paid. The person teaching the oral law doesn't necessarily get paid because of Moshe taught us for free, and but people who teach the oral law now do get paid, and they get paid basically for the time, for the job that they're not doing, that they could have been doing them, the job they're not doing. And if he can't find someone to teach him for free, he should pay someone to do it. That doesn't mean he can charge. Everybody's got to study, no matter what. Even great sages worked and are considered part of the oral tradition. He has to always study a third, written law, oral law, and contemplation time. Nach is part of the written law. Explanation is the oral law. Chassidus is part of the Gemara, and that other third. Let's read this long halach again. Third of his time to understand and comprehending the ultimate derivation of a concept from its roots. How to get from the root to the final product. Bring one concept from another. How to learn one thing from another. Comparing concepts. Looking at the rules of how do we expound things. Till he really gets it down. The essence of all those principles. And everything derives from them. That's Gemara. Once he's kind of mastered the written and oral law, he should review them at designated times and learn Gemara. And then the very interesting halakha at the end, that if a woman wants to learn, that's great. She gets a lot of reward for learning, but not as much as a man, because a person, you command somebody to do something and they do it. There's something very special about that. But someone who just does it on their own, it's also good. I don't know, if you tell Shimon to clean his room, and he does that, imagine the way that makes that feel, versus Levi just chose to clean his room. That's also nice, but it's not the same as giving the command and having it followed. Obedience goes very far. I think Hashem wanted the obedience more than almost anything. I can't quote you the verse, but there's a verse that backs us up that the obedience is the main thing. I think it was like, what good are the sacrifices if you're not obedient? I think they were, God forbid, breaking every rule in the book, but bringing sacrifices, it's nice. Bring somebody flowers and not Imagine someone brings you gifts, but everything you tell them to do, they don't do it, or they intentionally do against what you tell them to do. It's just, you'd rather they did what you told them and didn't bring the gifts, believe me. Back in the Rambam's time, the women needed to know what they needed to know, and their father should teach them how to do those things, to be the anchor of the home, but shouldn't teach her things she didn't need to know. He said if he did, it's like teaching her parables, but in regards to the written law, he should teach her. She's got to know those things, but the other things, not. But now that, women have a different role in society, although they're still very much the anchor of the home, and that's their primary responsibility to raise the next generation of God-fearing Yidden. And I am a fan that there should be multiple wives again. We could build up the Jewish nation much faster. I think the ladies would like it too. Focus on building a great nation and rebuilding, God willing, not millions and billions of people. It should be, if the money's there and if everyone's taken care of, assuming. If there's plenty of money for everyone, let's be selfless. Let's build up the Jewish people. Let's make it huge. Anyway, the Rebbeim did stress women's learning. They certainly need to know all the mitzvahs that apply to them, and if they're part of the modern workforce, that includes a lot more mitzvahs. And, in terms of giving charity and being a kosher server in the workforce, and all those things. And if she has free time, it's great that she should learn. She should certainly learn. And what does it mean about their minds? I don't know. I think a woman, if she's properly motivated, can come up with almost anything. I've told that women don't like Gemara. I don't know if that's true. I've heard that. Heard women don't like math. I don't know if that's true. Math and Gemara kind of go together. The person who likes math and logics will like Gemara. And wherever her heart takes her, wherever a person should learn what their heart takes them. But if she likes Gemara, she should learn it. It means that they can't concentrate, if their heart's going to get in the way. I don't know. I see women who are properly motivated concentrate very well. There's famous stories in the Gemara about women who were unlearned, who came to court and made these tremendous arguments. If it touches her deeply, a woman can be extremely motivated. She's just sitting in a class and she's thinking about other things and how this one looks and how this one smells and how she likes this boy. And okay, so it's going to be a lighthearted class, but if it has real meaning to her, if she understands she's connecting to God or enlightening her soul, or even if you have to talk very Magushim, like it's going to give her a better marriage prospect, it's going to help her in the workforce, it'll help her esteem, then there's some very nice female minds out there. Men tend to excel more at Chochmah, women to excel more at Bina, although certainly women have Chochmah, men have Bina. Everyone has their niche, but I don't know. I would think a properly motivated person could learn regardless of gender. And certainly, I think plenty of ladies, when they're properly motivated, do wonderful, amazing things. I think they certainly, if they are in the right mood, they can sit and concentrate very nicely. You see, when we make the Shabbos parties, the girls sit much nicer than the boys out many times. So it's all about being motivated and be excited. You need an enthusiastic teacher that reaches the people. Maybe with the ladies, they have to feel more comfortable or more emotionally safe or stable. I don't know what it is. So I don't exactly understand this word. It says they cannot concentrate their attention on study. They're distracted. Or, if it doesn't seem important to them, of course, that could happen to anyone. I don't know. It says women have these light minds. I don't know exactly what this means. Plenty of smart girls. Girls do tend to be more emotional. Doesn't mean their mind is light. It means they're more easily distracted. This says women are more swayed by words. And if they're more interested, I think they're more interested in connection to people, and that desire to have the room have a certain energy in people maybe would take their mind off the text. But I don't know. I'm making that up. I don't know if any of that's true. But I would think if they're motivated, they can learn great. And most importantly, we should have Mashiach now, the Rebbe should have Nisgala, we should have eternal life, the ultimate redemption, all the good stuff. Mashiach now.